Welcome everyone to the ECP demo class. I'm Rakesh Singh, your own payroll pre-sales demo expert. Let's see what we are going to learn in this video. So in this video, we are going to address why and how the ECP data integration is done. Why do we need a data integration between EC and ECP? If you remember, EC and ECP are two different systems, right? One is Employee Central, which is the HR system. As the name indicates, it's an Employee Central. It's a central system for storing the employee data. That's why it's called Employee Central. It's a HR system. The moment the employee is hired, the data is stored in that particular system. It's a source of employee data, right? So it's a source system. And then we have a payroll system. So payroll system is a separate system than Employee Central, even though we call it as ECP, Employee Central Payroll, because even though they are separate system, but payroll system is accessed by the end users via Employee Central. So payroll ECP is kind of a part of Employee Central, but it's a separate system. And we will see more into that. The question arises, why do we need data integration? And the reason is, since they are separate system, we need the employee data to run the payroll. When a payroll admin goes into the Employee Central payroll to run the payroll, it needs the employee data. But the employee data is not in the payroll system. Where is it? It is basically in the Employee Central. So when an employee is hired, it is in the Employee Central. All the information of the employee is in the Employee Central. And then we have to copy that data. We have to replicate the data into the payroll system. So we copy all the employee data from the Employee Central using point-to-point connection into the employee data from EC, right? So as you can see over here. So every minute, the data from this, anything which changes over here in this particular Employee Central related to employee will get stored in the EC and then will get replicated in the payroll system. As you can see, in the Employee Central, we have personal information, employment information, job, compensation, time, benefits, but there are more information in Employee Central other than these, these information. But we don't need all the data into the payroll system. We need only the payroll relevant information, right? Only the payroll relevant information. So all the payroll relevant information of these, which is there in the Employee Central, is replicated using point-to-point connection into the payroll system. And once we have all the employee data in the payroll system, payroll admin goes and runs the payroll. Now here you can see very important information. That is the employee payroll data. So employee payroll data and the employee data are separate. Why do I say that? Because if you see employee data, it is personal, employment, job, compensation, time, benefits, but there are also other information which are payroll relevant, which are as per the local country requirement. For example, tax information, garnishment information. Where are they stored? So those information are stored directly in the payroll system. That's the beauty of it. So all the employee data is stored in Employee Central. All the employee data's source system is the Employee Central, but the payroll data of the employee is directly saved in Employee Central payroll. And how do they do it? I will show you in the demo. This is basically done by exposing the screens of Employee Central payroll for the payroll data within the EC. So when someone enters the payroll data in the EC, it is not stored in EC, rather it will be stored directly into the EC payroll system. So that's how the data from the EC goes into the ECP. It gets replicated in the ECP. by point-to-point connection, as you can see in the arrow, employee data coming in. Also, the payroll data is entered directly into the EC payroll via the screens which we have exposed in the employee center. We call them mashup screens. We call them mashup info types, right? Mashup screens. And once all the data, employee data and the employee payroll data is there in the system, the payroll is run and the payroll is processed, the legal reporting, the output of the payroll results after running the payroll, the output of that will be some reports, some communication sent to the authorities related to taxes, the salary that has to be paid to the employees, the pay slip that we have to display to the employees. So all those things will be done once all the employee data and the payroll data is entered in the system. And that's why we need the data integration, because these two are separate systems. Employee Central stores HR data, Employee Central Payroll stores the payroll system, and that's why it is done. And how it is done, let's go and, okay, before we address how, let's see here. We have a financial system over here. So there's a third system called finance, and all the payroll results which are in the EC payroll system, the posting data of general ledger. If you know the payroll process, at the end of the payroll, there are certain posting information, general ledger information, or the balance sheet information has to be sent to the finance system so that they can report that in the actual company payroll balance sheet, where they can say, okay, this much we have expensed in employees, taxes or salaries, whatever the expenses company has, all those has to be reported in the finance system. And that's what this shows. Now let's see how it is done, right? Let's see in the EC side of it. So as I had mentioned, we have Employee Central and the payroll system. I'm logging into the system here, 201, which is our demo environment. I log in as 103.205. Okay, and I log in as a payroll admin, as a Canadian payroll admin. So I have logged in as a Canada payroll admin. And if I go and see my employee data, I'm a payroll admin, I'm also an employee. When I click on my employee file, I'm going to see all the employee data related to me. Right? So if you can see here, personal information, employment information, employment itself has job information, compensation information, time information, benefits information, and EC also has a lot of other information which it's not necessary for the payroll, right? But it's needed for the Employee Central. So Employee Central is also seen as a portal to other applications. For example, payroll system. The payroll is a separate system, but the portal, a window to access the payroll, is via Employee Central. That's the reason Employee Center is kind of a front end to the payroll system. But here, as you can see, payroll is mentioned over here. The payroll is not mentioned over here. Why? Because if I click on the payroll, I see all these links. Whereas if I click on personal information, I see all the data related to Julie Hunt, who is our payroll admin. But the moment I click on payroll, I see the links. And these links are nothing but these are the employee payroll data, which is there in the Employee Central payroll. The garnishment, taxes, other information which is relevant for the Canada payroll, right? And if I click on them, what happens? I go to the screen of EC payroll from EC directly. So this screen which is appearing over here is nothing but its Employee Central payroll screens. So when I enter the data in this screen, when I enter any data over here, like for example, the new record, if I create a new record, that record is not stored in Employee Central. That record is stored in Employee Central payroll as an employee payroll data of that particular employee, right? So that's the only difference between the payroll portlet. So all these things are called portlets. So the payroll portlet is different than other portlets because in payroll portlet, that portlet provides the links to access the screens of the Employee Center, right? So that's how it is done. So here you can see the pay statement. Here we can see the T4 statement. Since a Canadian employee, if I click on pay statement, I can see my pay slips, which is directly coming from the EC payroll. It is not coming from the EC over here. This pay statement is coming directly from EC payroll, but it's displayed in the EC system, right? So let me, okay, so that's done. And similarly, I can go and show the T4 statement, right? T4 is my annual tax. So as an employee, I can go and check my T4 statement also, right? So I can come and see my T4 statement, my year-end T4 statement over here. So I hope it would have helped you understand what is the ECP data integration. It's how the data is integrated between these two systems, how the data quality is maintained, how the replication is happening using the point-to-point connection. So remember, when we give the demo, the PTP, point-to-point, is one of the terms that we use, which client also understands. We also sell it. PTP is a tool which does the data replication from EC to ECP. And once the data replication is done, we can go and check in data replication monitor, right? If I click on data replication monitor, every minute the data which is getting replicated in the EC payroll is visible over here, right? We can access the same thing over here. So all the failed ones, I see it over here. If I say success, I can also see the successful messages. So this is a place where we can monitor all the data replication that's happening. It happens every minute. The data is replicating. If you change 5 employees in last 1 minute, all the 5 employees will flow into the EC payroll system. If it fails, the failure will come over here, and then someone who is maintaining it, who is monitoring it, they have to come and fix the data issue or fix whatever issue they have. Whether the issue could be in the EC payroll, issue could be in the Employee Center. So thank you everyone for watching this video. I hope you liked the video.